My father was an aviation cadet in World War II. He was flying Stearmans out of Lukox No. 2, which is now Scottsdale Airport, and then his instructor flew up into a cloud one day and didn't come back. And so he self-initiated elimination from pilot training, and he joined the Army band as a drummer and toured Europe opposing Glenn Miller's orchestra. I never envisioned being a professional pilot or even military. That was too much of a dream, but it just kind of, it was in the background. When I was in college, I was a computer engineer and decided I didn't want to spend the rest of my life working in a cubicle, turning into Dilbert with my tie turning up. So I decided, I'll join the Air Force and do something cool, be an engineer. And then a friend of mine who was in the ROTC program said, oh, don't do that, go be a pilot. I'm like, what, are you kidding me? I didn't even think that was a possibility. So I went out and talked to them and took all the tests and did very well. And yeah, next thing you know, I had a year off before I went to pilot training at Williams Air Force Base and became a pilot, teaching B-52 and KC-135 pilots how to fly the airplane. And basically the personnel folks got a hold of me and called me up and basically told me I had to get a real job because we were having way too much fun up there. And long story made short, I turned down an F-16 assignment to have an opportunity to go fly U-2s, and which I jumped on because to me that was just too much of an opportunity to pass up.
The Lockheed U-2 is a US military reconnaissance aircraft, a spy plane, which can reach altitudes over 70,000 feet. It first saw action during the Cold War, flying reconnaissance missions over the former Soviet Union, China, Vietnam, and Cuba. At over 65 years old, the U-2 is still in service and among only a handful of aircraft which can fly in the stratosphere.
I remember sitting in the airplane and just looking around at all the contractors, and there's LOX, liquid oxygen, venting from the aircraft, and the PSD folks are doing the integration. I'm just kind of sitting there looking back at all this, and I'm just like, I am not really doing this. This is just crazy to think that this is my job. And all these people are here just to launch and get me into the air for this 9-hour sortie. And it really is an incredibly humbling experience. And then flying missions over Bosnia and looking down at Sarajevo, and to think that the year before the Winter Olympics were there. It was just amazing. Just, you know, the things you get to see from that perspective. It makes you feel very small and insignificant. Yeah, it was just an amazing experience.
This is Arizona, a place with blue skies and red earth. A playground for flyers like us, with all the space in the world. In this series, we explore some of the best flying sites on our way to the sand dunes of California. In the penultimate episode of Expedition Arizona, we fly in Santan Valley with retired military spy pilot turned paramotor instructor Jeff Fletcher. Cynthia meets up with an old friend for a hike through the Superstitions, and we fly over the jaw-dropping Gold Canyon.
There is superstition, writings on the wall. There is superstition, ladders about to fall. There ain't no baby, broken looking lad. 7 years of bad life, good days in our past. When you believe in things you don't understand, then you suffer. Superstition ain't the way.
So this is a pretty tight LZ that we have here. I've got to be honest. It's probably the tightest LZ I've flown out of yet. And of course, the wind's blowing across the shortest part of the field. That's always fun. And at the end of the field, we have a road, trees, and power lines. The 3 worst things to have at the end of a LZ. I've given myself a good talking to. And if I'm not off the ground by about here, then I abort. I've got the APCO hybrid wing with me tonight, Cynthia's wing. I need all the lift I can get. It's a nice floaty, slow wing, gets me off the ground quick. Foot cam engaged. So there's no goal for tonight's flight. We'd spent too much time on the ground. That's it. So we just wanted to change that. Sadly, Cynthia can't be with us tonight. She's training a client. She does like physical training online. So if there are any people out there that are looking at getting into shape but don't fancy going to the gym, which is understandable right now, then get in touch through Facebook Messenger. You'll find me online. Craig Anthony Harris. Reach out and maybe you can get trained by Cynthia. She'll get your ass into shape again so that you can foot launch easier. We're just flying over a piece of desert right here. And it's really interesting, the divide between the little ranch houses down there on the right and just desert, just dry, arid desert. It's incredible how much we can affect our landscape as a species. Sometimes for the better, most of the time not, sadly. But I'm not going to get preachy about that right now, because there's a lot of good things about us. We invented paramotors for a start. That's pretty cool. I'm a great advocate for the human race, and I get very defensive about it when people start saying things like, you know, we're a virus on the planet. I think if you have that outlook, it's a very, very bleak place to spend time. And I don't have that outlook. I love the planet. I love the people on it. There's some assholes, for sure. But the vast, vast majority of people are good and kind and wonderful. They're just happy to be living on this big green and blue ball in the sky. Yes, so go people, go the human race.
In the paramotor world, there is just so much flexibility with the portability of the rig. I mean, we travel with our fifth wheel or with the thing in the back of the truck, and you're driving on a highway going someplace and you're thinking, I've got an airplane in the back of my car. And to think that I could really just pull over or stop and see something interesting and like, I want to go fly that and just go look at it. That kind of freedom is just unbelievable. You're not just starting a new hobby or new sport. You're literally joining a family, a huge extended family of paramotor pilots. I was just blown away by the generosity and the genuineness and just the willingness to help each other, and that sense of camaraderie of just going to like a new LZ and you meet people and you go on a flight and this thing happens and you come down and suddenly, because of this shared experience that you've just had, you're now lifelong friends. To just do something that literally is the stuff of dreams, to be able to run into the air. That literally is what we dreamed of as children, to be able to do that.
So we're heading out on a hike today with some friends of Cynthia's. Actually, it's a friend of Cynthia's who was her babysitter when she was very young. And I don't think they've seen each other for over 20 years. Cyn? Yeah? How long's it been since you've seen Barb?
I don't know, 30 years.
30 years. This is going to be interesting. most spectacular canyon. The side of the canyon walls, it's like orange and green. Check it out. In the winter, there's a torrent of water that runs through, and then in the summer it dries up, and you're able to walk straight down the line of the river and listen. Okay, so you can hear Cynthia, but apart from Cynthia, it's becoming rarer in this world, that kind of silence. You find it in the desert a lot, and almost nowhere else, it seems. But I'll take it. I appear to have lost my crew. The curse of the filmmaker. Always last, always at the back, always holding up the crowd. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I totally forgotten about that.
Parkour! Parkour! You broke a nail? A tree growing out of a rock.
Okay, your turn. Get all close.
Let's see, they have little barbs at the end.
Oh my god.
Where, yeah, it's like they're sticky.
Ugh.
Oh man, I actually have to like force it out of my skin.
Yeah, they
Like
yeah, they're sticky, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow,
they're called
that
barbs.
hurt. That still hurts.
Don't pee in the desert. Clearly.
Really?
The area we're in right now, they had bushfires all over here, right? And the big planes were coming in and dropping that red fire retardant stuff, and it's just everywhere. You can see it all on the ground. Oh wow, look at that. Is it kind of brittle?
Yep.
So if I could just like...
Okay, I'm getting thirsty. It's not good.
I wonder what this stuff actually is. I'll flash up on the screen what it actually is that they use. It's probably highly toxic and I shouldn't be touching it. After a truly breathtaking hike through the Superstition Mountains, there was only one thing left to do, and that was to fly over them.